Hello friends, welcome. Friends, after the tariff hike which the telecom companies have done, there has been a discussion which is going on in the social media that now it is a time to dial BSNL and the BSNL should come out to rescue the Indian consumer from this high tariff hike. Now that's why what I did was I just couple of hours ago I wrote this article. Can BSNL rescue price sensitive consumers from the impact of recent tariff hike? This is the title of this article, and anybody who is interested in this note can go through this note, and I'm going to paste a link in the description of this video and you can see this note, right? The purpose of this video is not to replicate the same information which I have listed down in this note. That's not the purpose. What I plan to do in this video is to explain to the viewers who have no clue about mobile technology and how this whole structure works and what is optimal and what is not optimal in very simple terms, what options the government of India has given the current situation on ground as regarding asset allocation, which is spectrum. Now, spectrum is a very difficult thing to visualize. Unless it is graphically placed before the viewers, nobody can visualize spectrum. So, many of you who follow me probably know that I have been doing this work in past, and I created an application which has the capability to graphically view this information on a real-time, not on a real-time, but on an updated basis. As the information gets updated, I keep updating this website. So through this tool, I am going to explain to you in simple terms that how effective BSNL can become as a player in the market if a slight tweak is done in the assignment philosophy of spectrum by the government, which is not going to cause any drain of money to the exchequer. Now, viewers who are watching this video might be amazed or surprised to hear this, that not a single rupee impact is going to happen on the exchequer if that tweak is done, which is disproportionately going to increase the value of BSNL, not only empower BSNL, not only to deploy 4G, but also move its path towards a very robust and empowering 5G network. This is the key word, not only 4G, but it will open up a roadmap for BSNL to deploy a very empowering 5G network without any additional allocation or any additional spend what the government of India has spent till now, though there will be additional money will be required to be spent on deployment of 5G, which you leave that aside. It is going to create a very beneficial situation for India and its consumer, and will revive this company BSNL, which we have been working so hard to revive by giving so many packages. Now these packages you will find in the financial result of BSNL, which they regularly publish. If you go to the annual report Q4, which was recently published, and you will go here, I have opened it for you, and here you will find that all the revival packages are mentioned. Though it is a picture pasted PDF, you can't really extract the document or the text from it without doing some work, because this is you need to do some OCR work in order to extract it. But this will give you the information on what the revival package is all about, and you'll find that a lot of money has been spent by the government, which fortunately I have extracted in my article, and I put a summary in my article, and whoever is interested, they can go through those revival package and understand what kind of benefit the government of India, what kind of money that the government of India has put in BSNL to revive it. So this is all there here, and this has been bucketed under four different buckets: spectrum allocation, AGR dues, capital expenditure, and sovereign guarantees. Now, why I have bucketed it in these heads? Because two buckets, two buckets, which are spectrum allocation as well as the AGR dues. These are more or less notional, because the money would anyway go to the government, and government anyway has established or put a reference price on spectrum, which most of the time lies fallow, which the government is not able to sell. So these are notional amount. These are not actual amount. Okay. What is actual amount is the two bullets which are below here. One is the capital expenditure, which the real money has to be spent on deploying equipment, and the sovereign guarantee which the government of India has to give, and that will result in a higher accumulation of debt. And if lot of PSUs are given guaranteed for on their ability to collect money from the market, it kind of gives an indirect implication of the government of India's overall debt. So these are the two items. These are the two items which are of significance, which we should be focused on. Rest of the things are not very significant. So out of the total 2.1 lakh crores of capital authorization which the government of India has increased on BSNL, I think these are the two buckets which are most important. So if you add these two buckets, you will find that this is also very substantial, because here the numbers are looking very significant, because you see the financial package of 22,000 crores here, and then we have got a package of 8,500 crores for VRS. Then we have another package of guarantee. There were a lot of bonds have been issued, and the government of India has given guarantee on behalf of BSNL, which is 15,000 crores, etc. And therefore, if you add all this thing, it also becomes substantial, maybe around 40,000 crores of money, which is hard-earned money of the taxpayer. These are not notional. Okay, so this is important, and therefore BSNL survival is very, very important in the interest of India's funds which are being deployed in BSNL to make BSNL better. Now, how it can be made more better, and what are the problems BSNL is facing right now? Well, let's discuss. Now, the problem is that BSNL is doing 4G in the 700 megahertz spectrum. Now, I have many times spoken about this. It may be repetitive to some of the regular viewer of mine, but I am doing so anyway for other viewers who might not have seen this in this perspective, because I have spoken about it in auction perspective and what kind of strategies the players will adopt. So let's look at this from a BSNL's perspective, whether BSNL will be able to deploy affordable 5G or not, or 4G or not, in order to bail the consumers from the tariff hikes. Now, if you look at the BSNL is doing 4G in the 700 megahertz band, and this band is the 10 megahertz spectrum which BSNL has been assigned here, and this is Reliance here, and this is Railways here, and this is defense here, right? So 10 megahertz of spectrum has been given to defense, railways, and Reliance Jio, and then 10 megahertz of spectrum here has been given to BSNL, and 5 megahertz spectrum still being debated in TRI to be given to railways. So Reliance Jio is stuck with 10 megahertz, BSNL is stuck with 10 megahertz. Now, unfortunately, this band is not a 4G band. This is a 5G band, and worldwide this has been a 5G band. Any 4G deployment in this band is now getting dismantled for 5G for a reason which I am going to explain to you. Right? Now, Reliance Jio is doing 5G, and they are doing the right thing here, not doing 4G, because this band will finally have a very good 5G ecosystem. Now, BSNL unfortunately is doing 4G here. Now, because of BSNL doing 4G here, what will happen is, as I explained in my article, you will notice that the affordable segment of handset, which are below 4,000 and below 6,000 rupees, are going to be extremely crucial to serve the price-sensitive customer. Now, the price-sensitive customer in India is going to only hold these kind of handset, not a very high-end handset, where there is no difference between 700 and 800. Mostly, you will find that device ecosystem is similar. But in the segment which is below 6,000 rupees, you will only find between 6,000 and 4,000 rupees, there are only three 700 megahertz 4G devices available in the market, and there are 7 800 megahertz 4G device available in the market, and below 4,000 rupees there are no feature phone, no smartphone available in the 700 segment where 4G is getting deployed. And in the 800 megahertz segment where 4G is getting deployed, there are some devices, feature phone kind of devices, which are available in the market, which you will go to Amazon, you will find that these devices are already available in the Amazon, and they are being listed in Amazon for sale. So there are some devices which I have listed in my article. You can go through this article and yourself see. Now, given this situation, if BSNL has even a pan-India coverage, at par with the other mobile operators in the 700 megahertz band, they will not be able to serve the price sensitive customers, because those price sensitive customers have already purchased a 4G handset, right, at a price maybe 6,000, 4,000 or whatever price. Now asking them to purchase a new handset, even if there is a device available in that segment which we are talking about, 4,000 rupees and below, it will be a hard ask, because they already have a device. And if BSNL is having an affordable service, they can simply switch to the BSNL network. Now you have to basically get a device specific for the 700 megahertz 4G in order to make the switch, which is two different problems. Double whammy. One is that devices are not available. Second is, even if the device is available, you have to make a switch by abandoning your existing 4G device which works in 800 megahertz band. So this is the problem with the BSNL's, the government strategy to give BSNL 700 megahertz spectrum. Now let's look at the 800 megahertz spectrum. Now I have been saying this for, I don't know how many times I've repeated this, and people might be getting bored with my repetition of this fact again and again. I have said this long back, and in 2022, if you recall, this was put out for auction. The same spectrum band was put out for auction, which is currently you see in pink. These are the spectrum band which are lying vacant. They were put out for auction. 2022, there were no takers. Nobody took this spectrum. Then, now this particular spectrum band, which is kind of lying vacant, and I'm going to show you, this is 800 megahertz band, and if I just extract the vacant spectrum out of this, from the others, you will see that these are pink, and the numbers which are, the quantum which are listed here, you will find that large quantum of spectrum is available vacant. This spectrum is not getting used neither by Bharti nor Jio. Bharti is not interested in this spectrum band because these are bands which are only for Reliance Jio specific 4G, and Bharti is doing 4G 900 megahertz spectrum, 1800 megahertz spectrum band, and 2100 megahertz spectrum band. So they are not interested. Reliance Jio is now focusing on 5G. This is a 4G band. Now people may say, how does it matter? Any band can be converted to 4G or 5G. Yes, it can be. But because of a technical reason, when you are at low frequency band which are close to each other, they are not far apart from each other, aggregating those spectrum bands together, if you have chunks of spectrum band in two different bands, aggregating them together, creating a single block of spectrum like 20 megahertz by having 10 megahertz in 800, 10 megahertz in 700, it is not possible because it will lead to coverage loss, because the spectrum bands are close to each other and nobody does that kind of aggregation to deploy any technology. So you don't do aggregation of spectrum in low frequency band in order to create a larger block and drive large speed. So Reliance, since they are already in 700 megahertz band and their 800 megahertz spectrum is currently being used for 4G, these are the red Reliance spectrum, there is no point in Reliance to expand their 800 megahertz capacity. It's of no use because they are already going in 700 and it's a completely different network, and they would like all the subscribers to move to 5G, not in 4G, to remain in 4G. So this particular block of spectrum, the pink color, will lying vacant forever. Nobody will take this spectrum band, mind you, because they have not taken in the last two auction. Why would you think that they will take it in any other future auction? Because it makes no sense, right? The strategy will remain the same. So therefore, if this particular spectrum band is going to lie fallow, it is better to give it to BSNL. Again, it is notional investment because you will never be able to sell this block of spectrum. That is not going to happen in near future. So if BSNL is given the 4G spectrum in the 800 megahertz band, then they will be more empowered to leverage the ecosystem of 800, which is already developed. Fortunately, because of Reliance and existing operators who have been operating in this space for such a long period of time, so it's already developed. So that people already have devices on their hands which support this band, and they can move to BSNL with no problem. So what is the problem in doing this? I do not understand. Now people may say, what will happen to the existing network which BSNL is already deployed in the 700 megahertz band? See, this is very easy to do. The BTSs are easily switchable between bands. and technology. There is no problem because the modern BTSs are kind of structured in a manner, manufactured in that manner. So you cannot, there is no difficulty in making the current BTSs 5G or 4G enabled depending upon what, and band, you can shift them in different bands depending upon whatever you want them to do. I don't think that will be a significant issue. There could be some incremental cost involved, but those will be minimal in nature. So you shift the existing BTSs, right? Or you have an option to deploy new BTSs, right? So both options are available. Or you convert the existing BTSs that you already have deployed in the 700 MHz band of BSNL into 5G. So this band, which BSNL has in the 700 MHz band, which is 10 megahertz, they can convert this band from 4G to 5G. Currently it is 4G. You can convert this band to 5G. Now you cannot do it real time with subscriber on it. It is not possible because you can't basically ask your subscriber to basically go and rest for a few months and then come back, then you convert. It is not possible. You have to do it in a manner that you have to park these subscribers with the 700 megahertz spectrum into some other band, and that is going to be the 800 megahertz spectrum. So what you can do is you can start deploying network in the 800 megahertz spectrum right now and make the network ready for subscriber addition, and let the subscriber get slowly migrated into the network, because anyway BSNL doesn't have any 4G subscriber right now, and there are a lot of people carrying 4G handset can easily move into this particular spectrum band. And then if you see this particular block of spectrum, you might find that there are many places the spectrum is very less significant compared to what BSNL would like to have, because 10 megahertz block doesn't seem to be available in 800 megahertz band in all the circles. That is a question, very simple, people may ask, but I can tell you that there is a solution to this problem. If the government wants the solution, they can do this solution. What is that? If I overlap vacant with RCOM spectrum, which has been locked out because of RCOM's bankruptcy, you will see that in all the circles except few, MTNL circles if you leave aside, except Rajasthan, where there is very little spectrum. I think Rajasthan, there is one circle where there is very little spectrum, which is Rajasthan. Even Rajasthan, I think we have spectrum. But if you look at this, in most of the circles, in almost all of the circles, 10 megahertz of spectrum can be easily created, and this is a scalable path for BSNL to deploy 4G, because they can combine the RCOM spectrum, which the government should revive, because you cannot let the RCOM spectrum go waste. This spectrum is nobody is using, which I have kind of added with the vacant spectrum, which is already vacant. Now let's say that BSNL has shifted all their services, all their customers from 800 megahertz, 700 megahertz band to 800 megahertz band. That activity can happen in 6 months or 1 year time frame, doesn't matter. Let BSNL take the time, because it's already taken so much amount of time. Let it take another 1 year to deploy another 4G network parallel to what they are doing in 700 megahertz band. Free up the 700 megahertz band and do the following, which is going to be very significant, what I'm going to tell you right now. This band is going to bail BSNL, which they're currently wasting by using it 4G. It can empower BSNL to make it a very significant player in 5G at par with the existing mobile operator. People will be surprised when I'm saying this. People will say, how can it happen? How can this particular band make BSNL at par with the existing player from the point of view of quality and empowerability of data speed in 5G network, which will be specifically relevant for the mobile usage, not for fixed wireless, okay? Because BSNL anyway doing broadband using fiber, BharatNet, etc. All those things are separate. Now let's talk about mobile. How can it happen? It can happen very easily. Now let me tell you, in India, most 5G development, everything has been deployed except Reliance Jio, who are deployed 5G in 700 megahertz spectrum. Everything has been deployed in which band? In the 3500 megahertz spectrum, and they will try to deploy in the 26 gigahertz band. Now 26 gigahertz band, a very high frequency, I think it's of no use. So this is the band where Reliance Jio and Bharti has deployed their 5G, the primary 5G, and Reliance Jio has deployed it in 700 also. If you look at the BSNL spectrum in this particular block, which is here, this is how much? This is 70 megahertz versus Reliance Jio 100 megahertz. In some places they have 130 megahertz and Bharti 100 megahertz. So BSNL has a lower quantum of spectrum in 3.5 gigahertz band, and this band is not a good band from a coverage point of view. It does not empower you to give in-building penetration. You cannot have a very empowering mobile broadband in this band, and that's why we have seen that 5G has been completely useless from the point of view of people to experience a good quality 5G service, and most of the people are very unhappy with 5G, right? That is the reason why, because high frequency does not penetrate indoor. The tower density you cannot increase because that is a very significant cost in OPEX, etc. So you cannot do that. So you have to live with your existing tower density, and that is going to compromise 5G services. Now, how can you improve your 5G service? That is the point, which is the next part of the discussion. Now, I'll tell you one thing, that 5G is not high frequency spectrum. This is a misnomer. You can use high frequency spectrum for capacity purpose or purposes which are completely, which you can't help. For example, satellite, they can't really work in the low frequency band for reasons which I can discuss in a separate video. For those, you can have to use high frequency spectrum. Those satellite need to also operate in low frequency band for a different reason which I don't want to discuss in this video. Now, low frequencies are extremely crucial. Why it is crucial? Because it can give a very good quality coverage on mobile handset. Now, currently, low frequency band are all used for 4G. In general, 4G is a service which does not empower it to do additional features which 5G can do. 5G can do slicing at the handset level, means it can prioritize certain kind of services more than some other services, and it can do on an application specific. Like if you have a mobile handset, if you have different type of application sitting on it, different icon, every application can get a different priority which 4G cannot do. Okay, now because 5G is more empowering, it is very important for 5G to have a better capacity in the low frequency band, and that you can do by carrier aggregation. How can you do it? For example, let's say BSNL has this 700 megahertz spectrum and BSNL has the 2100 megahertz spectrum. Okay, now the 2100 megahertz spectrum, if I filter with BSNL, you will see that in every circle except in Mumbai, Delhi, where MTNL has that spectrum, and except in Rajasthan where there is no spectrum, 10 megahertz of spectrum is available by BSNL. So what BSNL can do is, BSNL can carrier aggregate this block of spectrum of 2100 megahertz spectrum with the 700 megahertz spectrum and create a larger block of 20 megahertz uplink and 20 megahertz of downlink, because both sides they have 10 megahertz. So there is 10 megahertz of spectrum in the downlink, which will of the 20 megahertz, which will get carrier aggregated with the 10 megahertz of spectrum of downlink of 700, and similarly the uplink will also get aggregated. And if you need, you can overlay on top of it the 3500 megahertz spectrum, which is anyway less compared to others, that will serve the capacity purpose and maybe for the purpose of fiberless broadband, which is called wireless broadband, right, which Jio is offering. So that's the strategy which BSNL, and that will make BSNL at par with the mobile operators, because let me tell you, the mobile operators like Reliance Jio, etc., they are not going to sit idle and do nothing. They will also do the same thing. For example, Reliance Jio, what they will do? They will aggregate the 700 megahertz spectrum which they currently have, where they're doing 5G, with their 1800 megahertz spectrum, where they are currently doing 4G. So they will just get rid of this particular 4G from here. If I do a filter with Reliance Jio on 1800 megahertz spectrum, you'll find that there are so many places Reliance Jio had all this red, which is 4G. So there are a lot of spectrum. There are some places they have got 20 megahertz, some places they have got 10 megahertz, some they have got 15 megahertz. So they are heading towards creating an empowering 5G network, which will do carrier aggregation with 700 and 1800, and they will keep their 4G network aside. And BSNL, if they have to empower themselves to work with the mobile operators, they also have to do the same thing. Now, Bharti, there is a problem because Bharti doesn't have the low frequency spectrum in that much quantum for them to follow a similar strategy which Reliance Jio will do and what BSNL can do if BSNL is properly strategized and 800 megahertz spectrum can be given. Bharti cannot do that because Bharti does not have good enough spectrum in 900 megahertz spectrum. You see, Bharti has a problem here. If you look at the quantum of spectrum Bharti has in 900 megahertz spectrum, because Bharti has to create a 4G network in 900 megahertz and keep it isolated and then create a 5G network on top of it, which they can carrier aggregate with 2100 megahertz spectrum, which BSNL is doing. So Bharti has to wait for the 600 megahertz spectrum or buy the additional spectrum, the vacant spectrum, which there is some amount of vacant spectrum which they can do, but they will have a very little spectrum, 5 megahertz versus 10 megahertz, which Reliance Jio and BSNL will have in the 700 megahertz spectrum band. So now you see the advantage that the overall industry can be able to create, that this difference that the overall industry can able to create, that it will empower BSNL to do affordable 4G, which the industry needs today, and prepare them to compete with the private players to do 5G, which is very significant. Now, why carrier aggregation is so important? Because if you look at Dish and T-Mobile in US, they have been able to get very high speed by aggregating small quantum of spectrum in the low frequency band. Because ultimately, speed is also important, but coverage is crucial. You need to have in-building penetration, otherwise mobile handsets are not going to get benefited by 5G, which is the crucial, because you cannot really do Wi-Fi offloading, right? Just like you do in case of 4G, because Wi-Fi will not be able to carry forward those 5G features, which needs to be dragged into the 5G handset natively from the base station. You cannot do any Wi-Fi offloading. So you need to have a native 5G coverage inside your house. That you can only achieve by aggregating low frequency spectrum with another high frequency spectrum, or get additional low frequency spectrum in the same band. No two different bands. You cannot aggregate spectrum band in 800, 700 and create a 20 megahertz block. So friends, I think you probably understood that why I wrote this article and why I am passionate about this topic, because it doesn't require any kind of effort from anywhere. There is no structural change required on the government policy which the government of India is following as of date. What the government of India has to do is that spectrum which is lying fallow in the 800 megahertz band, which nobody wants. 2 auctions have passed and nobody took this particular spectrum. It has been offered in the 2022 auction. It was left unsold. In the 2024 auction, it was left unsold. So what is the government waiting for? Give this spectrum to BSNL and create a roadmap for BSNL so that BSNL investment which the government of India is doing in BSNL can be really fruitful. It can serve the interest of this country. So please, I think that is what I wanted to say through this video, and I hope that the message has been I think I've been successful in conveying this message, and hopefully somebody will listen and make the needed structural changes which are required, which are very minor in nature, and that is not going to impact the exchequer at all, because this money is going to be notional. You cannot sell this spectrum anyway. Nobody is going to buy. You cannot collect the money, so might as well give it to BSNL. So I hope, friends, you probably understood what I was trying to say. And if you have any questions, any kind of queries, let me know in the comment section, and I will come back to you with a new video next time on a new topic. Thank you very much for your time.